So we welcome in the professor and your co-host over at the J Street Vibes podcast, our man Jason Jones. Jason, what's happening?
Not much. Just adjusting to no football and got to find some new ways to troll Kenny now. But
I'm sure you'll find ways. We've been talking about this all day. Do you think your fraternity would take us?
Like today, like now,
like at this, like right now at this very moment.
Yeah. You guys do like post grad applications.
I got to see your resume, your community service, all that stuff.
Okay,
take it into consideration.
All right, we'll send it to you. We're checking out different fraternities. I think we decided we're going to join one. And this all started because I said it was Greek night Thursday night at the Sac State game, and then now we've just decided we're going to join a fraternity.
And that my ears perked up. I was like, Greek night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. We're talking about the kind of Greek night that I was thinking of. And He's like, yeah, and I was like,
Coach Patrick wouldn't allow any other type of Greek night.
Yeah, not Jimmy the Greek. Not Jimmy the Greek night, of course.
not that one. Not that one.
No.
Chris Berman's at that party right now.
Chris Berman. Here at Sac State, it's Greek night. Ironically, I had Jimmy the Greek on my show.
That was an all-time liner right there. That was an all-timer right there. I've got the Tubi commercial followed by Abe Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah, those were 1-2 for the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah, my kids got yelled at for a second. My kids got yelled at. Like, what are you doing? We don't have the remote. I'm like, okay.
A lot of y'all got worked by that. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I
mean, y'all got worked. That's all right.
It was clever. It was clever.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, absolutely. It was a great job. Jason, the Kings close out the first part of their season against Phoenix tonight. I actually want to ask you a Suns question first. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Phoenix made the big splash getting Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Phoenix is more dangerous next year than they are this year. Do you think they can put it together in the next 20 some odd games headed into the playoffs and potentially make a run back to the NBA Finals?
That's going to be tough just because two of those key guys, really, you look at that, their top four guys, really the only guy who's played most of the year is Ayton.
Yeah.
KD's missed, he's missed. KD's so smart. I think you can just plug him in anyway. He'll figure it out. Then you got Book, and then, Chris Paul's been in and out. They have the potential if they get hot, to make some noise. But I think there's probably something to the fact that just trying to throw all that together in 20 games is going to be tough. But I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs just because if they figure it out, I wouldn't want to see those guys at all.
Yeah, I look at that roster and they gave up a lot to get them, but man, they still got DeAndre Ayton, who's going to be a fourth option. Well, the way Chris is playing, he might be the third option. But either one of those guys, Chris or Ayton, as your fourth option, man, that's a good look. That's a good look, man. And I understand what Damian's talking about as far as there is going to be a period of time where they've got to gel and figure some things out. But I understand what you're saying, too. I think Kevin Durant is one of those players. There's not a lot of them. Maybe less than a handful of just him being on the team is figuring it out. Like he'll adjust to whatever's going on and get his 25. I bet you his first game he get 25.
Oh yeah, 25. He's like that E40 line. Put him in any hood, he'll fit in. Just drop him off, he'll be all right.
Yeah,
he's one of the best in the game. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I don't know. I just saw this as a move. Like, all right, I get why everyone's excited. I feel like some people may be going a little bit over the top with it, but next year, I don't know. As it stands right now, how I'd see anyone other than Phoenix as a favorite in the Western Conference. Besides Sacramento, obviously, how I'd see anyone but Phoenix is the.
Yeah, I think in the offseason they'll fortify the bench, and there'll be a problem next year for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Kings wise, they're getting ready to head into kind of uncharted land. We're not doing lottery scouts. We're just watching. We're watching NBA standings and hoping this team continues to win ball games. Are Are you I know you're a believer in the way that this team is played. Can they get to the playoffs? Can they get to the top 6? Can they win a playoff series? Could they knock off someone like a team everyone is really, really high on after the last couple of nights? Could they knock off a team like Dallas in the playoffs?
I still have a trouble picking them to beat someone in the playoffs because I just can't stand the way they play defense. I just think no matter who they play, someone's going to give them a problem. And you know, if you got to see Luka 5-6 times or Luka and Kyrie 5 or 6 times, I'm not going to bet against Luka in a series like that. But I think they're a playoff team. But I just
know, Jason, what if they play Dallas? Team that play less defense than them.
Then in that case, I go with the team with the best player, and I go with Luka. I always figure in a series, usually the team with the best player wins when things are pretty equal. I mean, and Luka's pretty good. I mean,
Luka for sure the best player on that team.
I still think so. He's going to have the ball more too. You know, I think he's the best player. I think he can. You know, it's not like either he or Kyrie are going to like lock anybody down defensively. So you throw that part out. I still think Luka is, you know, top 5 in the world. So I mean, I think he's one of the best going right now. So it'd be hard for me to go against him. But the way the West is, I could make a case for almost any team can win a series.
You know what's interesting about that what you're just talking about, and what you're saying makes perfect sense. But let's just say a hypothetical Mavs Kings series, which I would love. Like I think that would be must see TV. That'd be some great stuff. But you go with the fact that Luka, we'll just give him the best player in the series. Kings probably got 2 and 3 though. They probably got 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
I don't know if they got 2.
I mean,
Kyrie's not the best, second best.
He might. Fox. Did you see what Fox did on Saturday?
No, I understand.
You see what he did on Friday to them?
I know that.
I'm saying, as a career, obviously Kyrie is better. Right now, is Kyrie playing better than Fox right now?
Man, I don't know, dude.
Well, he just got the down. He
looked good.
He was pretty damn good before that trade. Man, he was doing some pretty. He was damn good in Brooklyn before the trade. So I mean,
I think
if Kyrie wants to, be engaged or not. Honestly, if Kyrie's locked in,
and I think he is, by the way, for now. I think he is for now.
What time is it? Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah,
right. I think it's Luka, Kyrie, and then I think I kind of get your point though. In my opinion, is Luka, Kyrie. Then it's Fox, Sabonis, and then it just might be a bunch of Kings after that. But Kyrie is still like, because Jay just said Luka's top 5 player in the world. Kyrie might be a top 12 at worst.
You know that's my guy on the court, Kyrie Irving. Like, that's my guy. I'm just saying, we saw 2 straight games. Fox put 33 and 36 on his head, and was locking him up on Friday. Like right now, I think there's an argument that De'Aaron Fox is playing just as good, if not better, than Kyrie Irving. Nobody could do anything with De'Aaron Fox. Nobody could do nothing with him on Friday and Saturday.
Well, Kyrie's never going to do anything with him. Like, I think that's part of the thing. That's not Kyrie.
And Fox had Kyrie had been in a bit of a torture chamber.
Could he have done the same thing, though, if Luka was there? Well, I guess he did that on Saturday. Yeah, he did it on Saturday.
Kyrie was still. It wasn't like Kyrie on Saturday had like 9 points now.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm with Damon. I just think they would have the 2 best players, and that's not like to diss Sabonis and Fox. I'm just saying in terms of the pecking order. Someone's got to be 3 and 4, and then like I said after that, I mean, do you take Harrison Barnes or do you take I don't know over Christian Wood? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's probably where the conversation ends. Like, there's a bunch of Kings named after you get past Luka and Kyrie. Wherever you put them, once you get past them, there's a lot of Kings.
And look here,
named.
and like I said, I understand everything both of you guys are saying. We just DeMontis, he had 22 and 14 on Saturday. He didn't really play that good. He had 22 and 14.
Well, I don't think anyone said he didn't play good.
No, I'm just saying, It's a complete afterthought.
Oh yeah,
that he
absolutely.
had 22 and 14.
Automatic double.
That's whatever.
Yeah.
14.
And I think we
I
made
started reading Twitter again, and I was like, "Hold up! I didn't say he had a bad game."
No, I muted those guys.
we made more of a story. We made more of a story out of what Trey Lyles did after Domas fouled out. Step in. Instead of Domas's 22 and 14, we made so much of Trey Lyles when he stepped in at the 5 for like 4 minutes.
Domas, the new Harrison Barnes.
No respect.
Mm-hmm.
No respect whatsoever.
I
Trey
love
Lyles, the new Rasheed Wallace out there. He get in the game. It's game over. He over there telling the ref, "Hey, put another foul on Sabonis." Hey, I saw that. He's like, "Hey, ref, check." He's using the hand a little too much. He's trying to get Sabonis out of there.
I'd love to see that series. That'd be a great series. That game on Saturday was so good. I was saying that at the beginning of the fourth quarter, let alone like it wasn't about who won or didn't win. It was just that was a great game on Saturday night.
Yeah, a lot of points scored in that series.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, we haven't talked to you. By the way, we didn't mention this. We got really derailed when the show started, and we never really went back to it. Not a surprise, I think, to anybody. Malik's out tonight. He's already officially been ruled out. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone on earth, but it is news that we didn't pass along. So forgive us. Malik Monk is officially ruled out and has been officially ruled out tonight. Jay, this is our first chance to talk to you since the trade deadline. Lots of different opinions on Monty McNair's approach to last Thursday's deadline. What was your thoughts when the Sacramento Kings, outside of an acquisition of Kessler Edwards, didn't do anything?
I question not so much them not making a move. I just wonder what was really out there for them that wouldn't have been so disruptive to the core of the team. Mm-hmm. I'm all in favor of making a move if it's going to benefit you. But the thing I wouldn't have liked for them was to say, okay, oh man, those teams made a move. We got to do something. And then you just do something to do something.
Right.
And now you're trying to figure out, like, why in the world would you do that? Like, why would you trade that guy? Like, why would you trade Terrence Davis for like 3 second round? Something just random. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I get, they definitely could have used a guy like a Jay Crowder, just, some more 3-and-D, especially the defense part of that 3-and-D. But if the move wasn't there, the move wasn't there. I think we've seen in the past with Monty McNair that if there's a move to be made, he'll make it. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of assumed there must not have been a whole lot out there that they liked. And, if the move doesn't make you significantly better, I think you roll what you got. I mean, at that point, they're still third in the conference. However you want to talk about, I've talked about it, the circumstances other teams have, and whatever the case may be. It's not like they're in a spot of desperation.
Right.
If you make a move, to me, you got to make a move to make yourself a title contender. Yeah. If you're them, based on where they are. And me and Kenny joked about it. If you can get Kevin Durant, but and I don't think Kevin Durant had the Kings on his list. So,
and
I think he had one team on his list.
One team and one team. Me and Damon talked about it yesterday, though. We look at that game on Saturday that we talked about, and all these guys that people wanted at the deadline, the Mason Plumlees, the Josh Richardsons, all that. Are any of them playing in the final 6 minutes in overtime of that game? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. So
that's why I said it has to be a guy who's going to be an impact. I mean, they could make moves around the fringe of the roster, which would be fine, but you don't give up significant assets. I mean, you're giving up a couple of second-round picks and a guy you don't play for a guy like that. You're not giving up something significant. If I'm the GM, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
Zion suffered another setback. Also, obviously, that plays a big factor in the Kings. Obviously, the Kings business, go out there, win games, keep it moving, but they got to look at the teams around them. And everyone said all year, watch out for the Pelicans when they get healthy. And it doesn't appear that day is coming. They had to play a big chunk of the season with Zion Williamson and without Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram looked great last night, but they're going to be functioning now without Zion Williamson. Is that a team that you think can continue to fight for a playoff spot with just one of their two stars?
I think they can maybe stay in the top 10, but the thing is, their two best players are hurt a lot.
Mm.
You know, I
That's
know.
Brandon Ingram is still hurt. He's
Yeah,
just
he's
playing through it. Like
100%.
he's just playing through the hurt.
I mean, their two best. I mean, what's the most games Zion's played in what 3-4 years?
Oh,
Maybe
we did that yesterday, and it was
like
bad.
50 or 60. I mean,
He played 62. I think he played 61 in a 72 or 62 in a 72 game season. That was the most that he played. But he didn't play the next year. The year before, like the games were in the teens. Like the numbers are, and then this year I think it's 29.
I mean, it's just crazy because, like I said, their two best players have trouble staying on the court. I mean, that's been the knock on Brandon his whole career. You know, he's a guy who, for whatever reason, you know, like what's in the water in New Orleans, I don't know. Because it feels like every time Zion gets hurt, he has a setback in rehab.
Yep.
It feels like he can never just like miss some time and get back. There's always a setback. I mean, last year was a whole season of setbacks for him. And the thing is, there's no way you can duplicate what he gives you. Either he or Brandon. You can't just go out and trade for a guy and say, you know what, he'll do what Zion does for us, and we'll be okay. So I think, I mean, I know C.J. McCollum's a good player, but he's going to need some help. Or or that whole talk before the year about would the Lakers be giving them like a top 5 pick? They both could be in the lottery together. So maybe that pick swap could be 9 and 10. Who knows?
Yeah.
Not to be funny, Zion's like, it's like Marvin.
Yeah.
Marvin's out 4 to 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden 4 to 6 weeks becomes 8 to 12.
Right. Yeah.
Like every time. Go ahead, get it out, baby. It's all right. We got you. I saw it coming and still didn't even know how to cover it. Like I'm just sitting there watching my partner sneeze and couldn't come up with a way to cover it.
It's coming.
And I'm looking at Zion too, you know. Remember, he got hurt at Duke. So I mean, this is I just, I hope eventually we can get a few 70 game seasons out of him. Like, just back to back. It's you feel bad for him just because no one gets injured on purpose.
Right.
But it's like, man, every time he's injured, he's working his way back. Boom, he re-aggravated something, or hey, that bone didn't heal. I don't want to say I've never seen it, but for a guy at this level, it's tough. I can't recall a guy at this high of a level of player where this happened so much.
What would you do if you were the Pelicans? Would you still write this thing out, or would you start having internal discussions about possibly moving him?
You got to keep him. I mean, because you see what he can do when he's healthy. I mean, and plus right now, teams would try to buy low on in a deal with him. They'd be like, well, we like him and all, but he's been hurt a lot. Yeah. I think you got to ride this thing out. You've already committed the contract to him. You committed to Brandon. You got CJ down there. You just hope you get that thing together health-wise and see what you can do with it.
Right.
Can we throw Jason some love too? Because I don't feel like we do this enough. Obviously, we mentioned the J Street Vibes podcast all of the time, but the culture work over on The Athletic, stuff you wrote on Mohamed Abdul-Rauf recently was really good. I'm very anxious to watch that documentary. He's one of the more. He is such a fascinating sports figure, especially in the culture, that I don't feel like gets the level of attention that's probably warranted.
Yeah, and the stuff that didn't get into the story was just as good. I mean, I first met Mahmoud, I think, in 2018. I was speaking at UCLA, and he was speaking at the same time. And I was talking to a class about the national anthem, kind of the history of it, how the anthem is inherently injecting politics in the sports. Because 28 people are still talking about Kaepernick a lot, and and I always say, hey, we don't play the anthem before we watch a movie. So talking to the class about that. And then, of course, I wasn't the important figure that day Mahmoud was. So that's when I first met him. We actually rode the same Uber back to LAX. So we just kind of got to know each other, and we've talked off and on over the last few years. So, yeah, he's very, I mean, he says it in the film, even in the story. He's still a guy in a lot of ways trying to figure things out. He's not a perfect figure by any stretch. There's still a lot, he's trying to figure out with his life and whatnot. But the things he talked about in terms of athletes with their mental health, and talked about, he had a lot of good things to say about the big three with Cube and what that's meant to him, and the fact that there was a generation of kids who had no idea who he was for the big three.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then he's really a fascinating. I don't say character in a crazy way, but just his story is just. And when you get into the documentary too, his life story is just like wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of like how did you even get to that point? When you see kids, nowadays they get these high school, they have trainers and specialization and a fast twitch coach and all this stuff in high school. Man, I mean, it's not even hyperbole. He barely had food in high school, and he was an All-American.
It's amazing. If you watched Fox 60 minutes before that ball was kicked off on Sunday, I don't know how you could ever have the conversation about politics being injected into sports. The whole 60 minutes leading to the kickoff was political propaganda with like these, like Captain, God bless Anthony Mackie, but Captain America reading this big, like when the hell did this start happening? When did we start doing this? And I know when we started doing it, right around 2016 is when it all adds up that we have to put 10-minute videos with Captain America reading about how great America is leading into a football game.
Well, it blew my mind when I found out that whole Salute to Service month is paid for.
Oh yeah,
it's paid for. Like it ain't they're not saluting anything. They got paid for advertisements. Basically.
Or the whole my family member got home and I didn't know they were going to be here. Folks didn't realize that was all like staged.
Work.
No, people didn't know that. Yeah. It's always, and part of my thing is I took classes with Harry Edwards in college. So even back in the late 90s, I was already on some different stuff when it came to that with sports. I was just like, I know
Edwards would do that to you.
I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, this is all a setup. I know, I get it. But yeah, he's interesting too, just because as you look at some of the things he dealt with, I mean, even the way the media was even allowed to talk to you in the 90s was insane. Like there was media in Denver who like thought it was a prank to run up in a mosque. Like, and that was okay. Like, oh, we're going to have a prank. We're going to run into a mosque and say some stuff.
Jeez.
And even some other stuff I'm working on, looking at, got something coming out on that Bill Russell doc. Looking at some of the ways the media talked about players. I mean, this was Bill freaking Russell, and they've got like these racist caricature cartoons of him in the Boston papers, and like it was okay, like and it's not as overt, but you still hear some crazy stuff in the press box. You'd be like, "Oh, what's how you really feel?" So it's Mahmoud gives you a lot of different things to kind of consider just about that, and I even asked him in the story, how do you even trust people? Like, how do you trust anyone when probably, from his perspective, he has no reason to trust anybody. So yeah, it's a lot of just, great time. Fun times to be alive for sure. Discourse is a lot different, but just looking back at some of these things, I mean, the stuff I read about Bill Russell was so crazy. I was like, man, I knew about it, but then to hear it, like it made me want to go buy a Bill Russell jersey. And I don't have a Celtics jersey. I'm like not allowed to being from LA, but I'll rock a Bill Russell.
Yeah, I think you could get a Bill Russell pass.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you get yeah, like the only Giant I would ever wear is Barry Bonds because no one liked him.
I feel that way about Jackie.
That's
Robinson.
The gift exchange this year. We'll get Jason a Barry Bonds jersey and JC a Jackie Robinson jersey.
At 42, man, come on, man, that transcends everything. Another thing we didn't talk to you about when you were on here last time is officially De'Aaron Fox is now on the All-Star game, and he celebrated that announcement with. We talked about it a little bit here at the beginning of this conversation. 2 crazy games on Friday and Saturday. Friday gets overshadowed because Saturday was so great and the Kings didn't win on Friday. But like I said, he went for 33 and 36. They probably shot 60-something% from the field in both games combined. I mean, he is playing clearly as good as we've ever seen him play right now. And he, in a situation where everybody was trying to see the first game with Luka and Kyrie, the guy that shined the bright was probably De'Aaron Fox that night on Saturday.
Yeah, what do you have? Like 10 points through 3 quarters and finished with like 30 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he was worthy of being an all-star. I'm glad he got in. I hate that guys are getting hurt, but he deserved it. This is not like a lifetime achievement award like they gave Dirk and D Wade a few years ago. This isn't like let me find a guy who maybe could have been an all-star 3 years ago but didn't get it, so let me make it up to him now. This isn't like the Mike Conley lifetime underrated award. This is well deserved. And the West is just so weird this year that's why what we got, like 10 teams represented this year in the All-Star game, 10 or 11. Just it's crazy. But for me, the consistency that De'Aaron had is the biggest thing, because like I said before, we've seen him do it for a week or two. Pretty much now the week or two was when he wasn't playing well this season, or when he was below par, and even then below par was like 16 points.
Yeah.
It wasn't like below par was 6 shots, 9 points, 5 turnovers, and wondering what were you doing. So it's well deserved. He earned it. Yeah. Maybe he could have got a better city than Salt Lake City for it, but hey,
poor guy.
I suspect with a new baby at home, De'Aaron, and he's gonna figure out 2 things. He'll be extremely busy during the day, and he'll probably enjoy some sleep, because I know little ones ain't gonna let Casey over there. He know you ain't getting no pass right now.
Nah.
So he's probably gonna enjoy that just as much as kind of this the whole hoopla around being an all-star.
Yeah, little Ryan had me up at 3 a.m. this morning. So adorable, though. How can you get mad at her? Can't.
That's how I feel about you. Like, how could I get mad at you? So adorable. Jay, we appreciate you as always, man. Great work on the podcast, J Street Vibes, and of course, great work on The Athletic. Where's your now former quarterback gonna land?
I don't know. I figure the NFC South. I think they got like 3. They got like at least 3 openings, I think. So I think
Carolina, Tampa Bay, they're open for him down there.
Yeah, I think that's where he'll end up, and then I don't know what the Raiders will do, but the old man is gone, so he's not an option. I would love to see them be able to draft C.J. Stroud. I'm gonna have to move up to get him possibly, but I would love that, because even watching the Super Bowl, you see what happens when you have a quarterback who can run.
Yeah,
he can change some things. So I would like that, but hey, I'm pretty sure all the nice things I said about Josh McDaniels, he's definitely don't listen to me.
Yeah, you and me both. But that's all right. Jay, we appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
appreciate you, dog.
See you next week.